This message is for you, and God says do not turn your eyes away from this word, for it carries the sound of warning, the weight of truth, and the urgency of heaven itself. God says there is a hidden danger rising against you, something you cannot see, something working in silence, waiting to strike when you are least aware. God says someone is weaving a net of papers, a court notice, a plan to bind you in chains you never asked for, and the most terrifying part is this: you are completely unaware of it. You are living, moving, breathing, but behind your back, they are preparing a weapon to wound you, and God says He cannot let you walk blind into a trap that is already being set. God says don't take this lightly, don't delay, don't dismiss this as nothing, because the enemy is moving in shadows and trying to pull you into a pit you don't even know exists. God says listen carefully, because every word you read right now is not a coincidence but a divine lifeline. He is begging you to open your ears, your eyes, your spirit, because the one who is preparing this court notice wants to break your peace, steal your confidence, and tie your name with false accusations. You don't even see it yet, but heaven sees, and God says, "My child, I am warning you before it reaches your door, before it shatters your sleep, before it steals your tomorrow." God says you must act fast, because if you wait, if you delay, the hidden will become open, and by then it may be too late. God says there are people in your circle, people who smile before you, people who speak softly in your presence, but their heart is sharp as a blade. They are not standing with you, they are standing against you. They are waiting for your downfall. They are digging holes in the night so that you will stumble in the day. God says don't think for a second that your enemy is asleep. Your enemy is awake, planning, whispering, plotting, trying to find ways to send a notice, a paper, a weapon that will catch you off guard. God says, but I am still God. I am still above their plans. I am still the shield around you. I am still the defender of your cause. And I will not let you drown in battles you don't even see coming. God says the danger is real, but so is His power. The notice is being drafted, but heaven is also drafting a counterpaper with your name on it, a divine declaration that says you are protected, you are chosen, you are not forsaken. God says He is moving faster than the enemy, but you must not sit idle. You must act, you must prepare, you must pray, you must cover yourself in His words, because time is moving and the trap is being finished even as you are reading this. God says do not underestimate the seriousness of this warning. He says, my child, the devil works in silence, but I am speaking in clarity. The devil hides in documents, but I expose him through prophecy. The devil thinks you are blind, but I open your eyes. God says don't try to skip this, don't try to push this aside, don't think you can handle it by yourself, because this is bigger than you, this is deeper than you, and this is darker than you can imagine. Only God can untie the knot the enemy is tying against you. God says there is urgency in this moment, a spiritual siren ringing over your life, because the notice being prepared is not just words on paper, it is an attempt to steal your voice, your rights, your destiny. And yet God says, I will not let it succeed. I will expose the one behind it. I will reveal their intentions. I will confuse their language. I will scatter their counsel. I will make their papers useless before they can ever touch your hands. God says act fast, not in fear but in faith. He says, seek me now, cry out to me, because the warning I give you is the shield I am placing around you. Don't stay silent, don't stay weak, don't stay asleep. Stand up, cover yourself in prayer, and know this, I, the Lord, go before you to cancel what the enemy is preparing against you. God says He loves you too much to let you be blindsided. That is why this message is burning into your heart right now, why your spirit feels the weight of it, why you feel like this is not ordinary. It is not ordinary. It is God speaking, it is heaven rushing to your defense, it is His hand reaching for yours. God says the enemy wants you trapped, but he wants you free. The enemy wants you silenced, but he wants your voice louder. The enemy wants you to lose, but he has already written your victory. This message is not for tomorrow, it is not for later, it is for now. God says take it now, believe it now, act on it now, because the hidden danger is closer than you think, but so is your deliverance. And God says this, as surely as they are writing papers against you, I am writing promises for you. As surely as they are plotting, I am protecting. As surely as they are trying to pull you down, I am lifting you up. Don't fear their notice, for my notice is greater. My decree is final. My word is law. My protection is unbreakable. Don't skip this, don't ignore this, don't say later. God says, later will be too late. But now, if you hear my voice, now if you believe, now if you act, I will stop the storm before it reaches your house, I will burn the notice before it touches your name, I will scatter the enemy before they stand before you. God says He is not warning you to scare you, He is warning you to save you. This is for you. This is your moment. God says, hidden danger is on the way, a court notice is moving in silence, and you are completely unaware. But now you know. Now you see. Now you must act. And if you cling to Him, if you trust Him, if you move with Him, He will turn the hidden danger into a hidden deliverance. God says, listen, my child, because I am not finished. I am not releasing you back into your day until you have been armed with truth, until your spirit has been nailed to courage, and until your feet have been placed on the path of action. God says the next steps are practical as well as prophetic. He says your warfare begins with simple, specific moves. Check the places where papers hide, watch the routes where notices travel, and do not let pride or embarrassment keep you from asking for help. God says humility opens doors that fear slams shut. Do not be afraid to ask a neighbor, a trusted friend, a wise counsel, or a legal advisor to look with you, to read with you, to stand with you. God says He will send you people who will be both shield and sword, accept them. God says prepare your heart for confrontation but do not be consumed by it. He says the enemy wants you to burn with rage, to respond in panic, to sign things you don't understand. He warns, do not sign in haste, do not speak in shame, do not be hurried into decisions by men who offer quick fixes. God says, slow down in judgment, speed up in prayer. When a notice arrives, God says imagine me kneeling at your table, hands on the papers, eyes full of compassion, lips whispering counsel. God says the courts may speak in language of law, but I speak the language of deliverance. You will need both, legal wisdom and divine discernment. Seek both. God says watch your mail, watch your inbox, watch the hands of those who say they love you. He says sometimes the court notice is mailed into the pocket of your life through gossip, through claims, through unfair words. He says clear your name with truth, but do it with dignity. Let your voice be calm, your evidence gathered, your conscience clear. God says He honors the person who keeps their hands clean and their testimony intact. He says keep records, keep receipts, record dates, names, times. Small things will become strong things in the right moment. The devil despises documentation because truth, once written, cannot easily be bent. God says do not put your trust in quick promises or secret deals. He warns against those who come with smooth words and pocket agendas. He says there will be offers of silence in exchange for compliance. There will be people who try to barter your dignity for convenience. God says refuse these bargains. He says, my child, never sell your soul for a false peace. The peace I give is not bought, it is proclaimed. God says true protection is not a transaction but a covenant. Walk away from shady pleas and hidden clauses. God says now is the season to establish witnesses around you, people who know the truth of your life, who remember your steps, who will speak up when the enemy tries to write fiction against you. He says call the ones who love you into the light, ask them to stand, to testify, to pray. God says community is a spiritual bulwark. Do not isolate. Isolation feeds the scheme of the enemy. Pull close those who will hold your story, let them be your amplifiers. When papers fall like rain, your people will be umbrellas. God says beware of online traps. The enemy loves to hide in comments, in shares, in false claims that move faster than a careful heart can respond. He says screenshot, save, preserve every malicious message, every threatening call, every whisper that seeks to tie your name with shame. God says your phone and your mailbox can be fronts in a battlefield, treat them as such. He says, be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Know when to respond and when to let counsel guide you. Do not fight every battle yourself. Some are to be handed over to those trained in law and those anointed in prayer. God says there will be days when you feel small, when the letter seems larger than your life, when the signature on a sheet will look like the end of a story. Do not believe the lie. God says He is rewriting your chapters. He says the enemy loves dramatic punctuation, but I love redemptive paragraphs. You are not the sum of a sheet or a sentence. You are a child of promise, and your life has continuance. God says even if the system tries to silence you, His voice will rise louder, through testimony, through miracle, through the exposing of the truth. Keep your hope. God says courage is a muscle, exercise it. Start with small acts, lock the doors that need locking, change passwords, request certified mail for important documents, meet people in safe places, take a trusted person to appointments. God says small protective steps are not paranoia, they are prudence. He says teach your household what to do if a notice comes, who to call, where to store documents. Make a list, names, numbers, places, keep it accessible. God says preparation calms the spirit and confuses the enemy. God says when the notice is served, stand on these truths: you are not alone, you will have counsel, and your story will be heard. God says do not speak when you are burning with anger, rather pray and speak with clarity. He says a recorded, calm reply will dismantle the impulse to react. God says words are powerful, use them like the surgeon, precise and purposeful. Do not let a paper bait you into saying things that will escalate the matter. He says, let justice be measured, and let mercy be spoken. Balance is your ally. God says I see the one who is sending the notice, his motives, his nights of scheming, his small victories of half-truths. God says his plan will be exposed like a leaky vessel. He says watch for contradictions in his tales, watch for people who change their story. God says truth has rhythm and consistency, falsehood stutters and stumbles. When the enemy tries to weave confusion, call on me to unravel it. I will bring people who remember the sequence of events, who will speak clearly, who will refuse to be bullied by intimidation. God says this is also a season of testing for your faith. He says some of you will find treasure in trials, wisdom, depth, a sharpened testimony. God says trials are not wasted when you let me work through them. He says, child, I will use the pressure to refine you. Do not be surprised if in the furnace of this notice you are made braver, wiser, more compassionate toward others in similar storms. God says your scars can become maps for others who are lost. God says beware the trap of shame, the enemy will try to make you hide. He says shame loves secrecy, deliverance loves testimony. If you are wrong, own it. If you are falsely accused, proclaim truth. God says when you rise to tell the truth, you not only win your case, you free someone else who was silenced by fear. Testimony is medicine, share it. God says there is freedom in the story. God says I will also move in unexpected ways. He may put someone in your path with keys to a locked truth. He may orchestrate a phone call that reveals a lie. He may bring a document that proves your innocence. He may touch a judge, a clerk, an official heart. God says do not discount small miracles. He says pay attention to coincidences, they are often my calling cards. Keep a journal of them, when the storm passes, you will have a tapestry of my faithfulness. God says prayer is the work of kings, practice it relentlessly. He says form a circle of intercessors, people who will not be silent, who will come against this notice with fire. Do not underestimate corporate prayer. God says when many pray, the weight of the attack lightens. He says call nights of prayer, if you can, midnight prayers cut chains that daytime courage cannot. God says declare scripture, speak promises, and refuse to yield your peace. Stand in declarations, your name, your family, your future, speak them aloud. God says now, even as you read this, begin to speak these words, Lord, reveal the hidden. Lord, protect my name. Lord, send truth to light. Lord, give me wise counsel and faithful friends. Lord, confuse the counsel of those who plot against me. Lord, turn their plans into instruments of my testimony. God says when you pray like this, you are not bargaining, you are aligning. You are bringing the heavenly court into your earthly case. God says, keep listening, for I am not finished with you. There are more weapons for you than the enemy has for you. There are more strategies for your deliverance than his plans for your destruction. God says this next movement is about voice, record, and testimony. Speak clearly, but more than that, record clearly. Start by writing a letter to yourself that begins with the facts, dates, names, conversations, promises made and promises broken. God says truth arranged in order is like light breaking through fog, it clarifies, it disarms, it persuades. When you go before anyone, lawyer, judge, friend, carry your facts like a lantern. Let them guide you. Do not let emotion be the only document you carry. Bring facts, receipts, witnesses, and steady breath. God says there are legal moves you can make that do not require you to become someone else. He says consult an honest counsel, someone who fears God and respects truth. God says there are clerks and advocates who will not charge your soul, there are free legal aid clinics, there are community servants who will offer wisdom for little or no money. Do not assume help is expensive, my provision is often simple and waiting. Search for counsel who treats you like a person, not a file number. God says if you cannot afford counsel, call the organizations that serve justice to the poor, there will be doors opened. Do not be too proud to accept help, pride is a luxury the battle cannot afford. God says also prepare a public buffer if necessary. If slander is being spread, consider a clear, calm public statement that lays out your position without rancor. God says truth does not need to scream to be heard, it can be plain and persistent. Use social platforms with prudence, think twice before posting angry rebuttals. God says your silence in the right moment can be more powerful than 100 replies. Let your reputation be guarded by dignity more than by defense. When you must speak, speak with evidence and humility. When you must be quiet, let your silence gather strength. God says protect your family. Children and elders are the soft targets in these storms. He says keep them unaware of unnecessary fear. Instead give them schedules, routines, and the assurance that you are taking care of things. Teach them simple words they can say if approached by strangers. Keep their documents safe, birth certificates, school papers, medical records. Store copies in more than one secure place. God says the security of your household is part of the victory. When you protect the small things, you protect the big things. God says now is the time to pray the declarations that change outcomes. He gives you these words to speak aloud every morning and night. Heavenly Father, cover my name. Confuse every counsel planned against me. Let truth rise and falsehood be scattered. Bind the hands that intend harm. Headache of lies fall away. I declare integrity over my record, protection over my home, and vindication in your time. Amen. God says speak this until you feel it. Repetition is not superstition when it aligns your heart with heaven. God says do not be surprised if you feel fatigue. Spiritual warfare is draining. He says rest is a weapon. Sleep in trust. Take appointed times of rest where you stop reading headlines and listen for His small, still voice. God says feasting on His presence gives you stamina. Read a psalm, sing softly, let your spirit be refilled. Strength will be necessary when the day of decision comes. God says there will be opportunities for reconciliation if wrongdoing is mutual. If you have wronged, own it quickly and repair. If the accusation is false, do not beg but assert. God says both humility and courage have their place. Choosing the right posture will be guided by counsel and prayer. Do not guess your posture in the heat of a moment. Ask, and the right posture will be shown. God says watch for spiritual countermeasures, prophetic words that confirm the truth, dreams that shed light, sudden clarity about a person's motive. He says pay attention to the quiet confirmations, the stranger who calls with useful information, the clerk who misplaces a file then finds it again revealing a truth. God says miracles are not always thunder, often they are tiny alignments that, in sequence, topple great lies. Keep your eyes open for these breadcrumbs of grace. God says teach your heart to sing even while it trembles. Praise is a weapon that changes atmospheres. When anger would boil in you, choose praise. When despair creeps, choose worship. God says praise does not deny pain, it invites my presence into it. When you praise, you are refusing to be ruled by the enemy's narrative. You are declaring a higher truth. God says take practical security steps now. Notify your bank of possible fraud, freeze accounts if necessary, change important passwords, set two-factor authentication, and ask for certified mail only on sensitive matters. If you have a P.O. box, consider using it for crucial documents. If legal deadlines come, note them and meet them. God says deadlines are the enemy's favorite weapon. do not give them victories by missing them. Calendars and alarms are not small things in spiritual battles, they are part of the armor. God says there may be a moment when you must go public and tell your story. If that hour comes, God says speak with clarity and compassion. Let your pain fuel your testimony, not your revenge. When you expose wrong, expose it in a way that leads to healing and correction. God says the best revenge is redemption. Turn your pain into a pathway for others to be warned and healed. God says I will protect your tomorrow as you walk steadfast in today. He says the enemy's notice may arrive, but it will be a notice that falls on deaf ground because your life already testified to truth. He says when the judge hears, when the clerk opens the file, when the witness speaks, my justice will have prepared a stage for truth. Trust the process and trust my timing. God says, I will cause the right words to be remembered. I will cause the right papers to surface. I will cause the right hearts to be moved. God says finally, do not build your life around this storm. Live with boldness. Let your daily acts be ordinary, work, laughter, food, kindness, so that when the storm tries to make you small, your life will still be full. God says joy is the banner under which you will march. Keep your friends, your hobbies, your routines. The enemy cannot take what you refuse to give him, your small delights, your laughs, your quiet sunset moments. God says I will continue to speak. There are prayers to declare, legal phrases to consider, prophetic decrees to pronounce, and promises to claim. If you want the next portion, specific prayers for court hearings, scriptural declarations to memorize, and a template legal checklist, I will keep releasing my voice into this message. Do you want those next? God says He is ready to keep protecting you.